I spend a lot of time visualizing what success not only looks like, but what it feels like. And
Oh, I love that.
it's not just a monetary thing. It is like just even all of like the little step goals to get me to a bigger goal.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Worldwide. Thank you so much for showing up and for being here wherever you are in this world. We appreciate you. You're sharing the stories of our guests, and you're also sharing how you're doing and how you're feeling, which helps us to line up the topics, the stories, the guests, and the advice for you. Well, let's get to today's topic, which is innovation, but we're going to look at it from the socially and environmentally sustainable side of work. And the guest I have today can certainly speak to this topic. Joining me on the show is Sharon Kevil. And Sharon is the founder and CEO of Forti Goods, which is a Milwaukee-based company. And it's the first furniture company that has lockable drawers that safely and securely stores cannabis products. Now, Sharon was an interior designer for over a decade, and then she shifted to become an entrepreneur. She took her talent, her passion, and her purpose because she wanted to build a company that she could be proud of, one that is socially and environmentally sustainable, but also meaningful and family supporting. I could go on and on about Sharon, but I think it's time that she shares her journey and advice with you. So Sharon, welcome to Women Worldwide.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, well, me too. Did I get everything straight
Yeah,
in the
yeah. It
introduction?
was a great
Okay.
introduction. Thank you.
Well, good. And I always start off just so that you can share a little bit about that transition from interior designer over to building this
Mhm.
company that really is a first in your market.
Yeah. I have always thought that sustainability, it's always been something that's been important to me. Although, I haven't necessarily been living the most sustainable lifestyle, up until more recently. But finally getting pregnant in 2014 really kind of changed everything as it does for a lot of women. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and it just basically, I decided that I wanted to, you know, do better for her and for future generations. And that's when I really started to get a little bit more serious about bringing my work life and my personal values kind of more in alignment. So, yeah, I mean, I started off as an interior designer. And I did that for about a decade. And then I moved into product design and I started designing furniture for sale for a retailer, a national retailer, and got to go overseas and learn, the business of how products are made and how they end up in stores here in the US for people to purchase and consume. And, I saw some things that maybe just didn't really feel right in terms of sustainability and in terms of how other people are, the people who make our products are treated. And so I decided that I wanted to kind of build a product line and a business that, I could be proud of and feel good about putting out into the market.
That is really good. I mean, I hear a lot of stories. You see things that happen, and that creates this need for change that you want to do something to make it better. And I wonder how hard was it to introduce this to the market. It is a first. You are the
Mhm.
first furniture company. I mentioned the lockable drawers, the cannabis product. Is the market welcoming to this, or is it hard to kind of break through?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we first launched, which was October of last year, during the pandemic, right during the US election,
What a time.
yeah, what a time. But there were a lot of people. We got a lot of people who were like, this is amazing. Why haven't I thought of this? Thank you for normalizing, cannabis use and safe storage.
Right.
This is a conversation we should be having. And then there were a few people who, were publicly commenting on our social media, like, why would you bring this product to market? Why is this even necessary? Why, are you promoting drug use among parents and in households with children? And it's like, nobody calls Crate and Barrel or Pottery Barn and says, "Why are you selling bar carts? Are you promoting alcoholism? Why would you build product that's going to promote an unhealthy lifestyle in people's homes?" And I would argue that alcohol really doesn't have very many health benefits, if any. It's debatable if there are health
Right.
benefits at all. And cannabis does have wellness benefits, and it is prescribed medically for people. So, having something that is promoting
Safe.
safe storage and
Exactly.
also normalizing something, there shouldn't need to be people hiding things in, shoe boxes on shelves, or, at the back of closets, or,
Which is
you
not
know,
safe and
which is
not
not
secure.
safe, not safe,
Right.
not secure. And, just basically the normalization aspect of it. And when I start breaking it down to people, like, look, you can go on Google right now and type in, bar cart, and there'll be thousands and thousands of, images of product that you can buy today for alcohol, but that just doesn't exist for cannabis. And so, just because it's new and hasn't been done before doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Well, that's what it is. It's new and it's never been done. And whenever something
Mhm.
is introduced, education is necessary, mindful
Exactly.
conversations rather than knee jerk reactions. I think
Hmm.
these conversations you have to have. And
Hmm.
it sounds like you're handling them very well.
Thank
So,
you.
high points and low points. Can you
Yeah.
name any? I mean, it's different when you're an interior designer and you're working for other companies, and all of a sudden you're your own company, your own boss. I'm sure you have a team, lots of moving parts. There's
Yeah.
some highs and lows.
Yeah. I mean, I would say one of the lows was definitely like COVID. I mean, that's been a low
Yes.
for everybody for multiple reasons, but launching a sustainably made, higher ticket price product in a pandemic when there's so much uncertainty and people are sick and scared, it's, uh, that's been difficult. But also, it's been difficult not to be able to, during our part of our launch strategy was to get out and talk to people and demo the
I'm
product, and
sure.
and go around and kind of show it to people. And we really haven't been able to do that in the way that we wanted to. We wanted people to be able to like touch and feel the finishes, and hold our
Of
accessories,
course.
and basically kick the tires, and we haven't been able to do that, which is unfortunate.
What do you
So
do in this? Are you using video
video.
demonstrations?
Yep, we're using video. In fact, I have another day booked tomorrow to do more video, to, do more demonstrations so that we can get more information out there, because, it is a big ticket item and it is an investment, and, people want to be able to see something before they purchase it. And I don't blame them. I would want the same thing. So that's
Which,
kind of one of
uh,
the lower points of it.
yeah, that
Um,
makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, are there trade shows that you normally would go to, and now you're doing virtual trade shows, bringing your product virtually and showcasing it?
we haven't really done any of the virtual trade shows yet. We've, thought about that, but, we
Mhm.
just haven't really pulled the trigger on any of them yet. Eventually I would like to be doing some of the cannabis related shows, and
Yeah,
then, get into some of the, interior design related, like the trade design shows as well. So, we have plans for that, but,
good.
it's basically just a matter of when is it safe to do so?
Yes,
Yeah,
so true. So, what about some high points? What
sure.
made
So,
you get really excited? Like, oh my gosh, we're so onto something here.
yeah, yeah. So, one was securing investment in the company. So I was fundraising for about a year before we launched the product. Actually, it was a full year before, it was basically all of 2019.
Right.
And, there were a lot of lessons learned and a lot of like kind of rolling with the punches, sort of, so to speak. And, there were a couple of times where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find someone to, invest in this company. And so, after a year of talking to people, finally landing initial investment, like that was definitely, a peak moment. And then, obviously when we made our first sale, that was also a very, a huge win, a really exciting time. So, um,
Absolutely.
I've heard people say that whenever you buy from a small business, somebody does, a little happy dance, and that's definitely, I can say that that's true at Forti Goods. Somebody
That's
does a happy dance.
awesome. You were doing a happy dance. Excellent. Have you had any big aha moments or even uh-oh moment that just stuck with you because it was such a learning lesson, whether it was before or during a transition or even now running your
Yeah.
company?
Yeah. I would say my aha moment isn't necessarily tied to business, but more being a woman in business. So, I think we all are sort of conditioned growing up that, we don't believe that we're experts in anything. I just believe that we're kind of conditioned, it's rare that women aren't conditioned to kind of give their power away, so to speak, to other people, believing that other people know best, or that other people um, more of an expert than maybe we are.
That's that
And
imposter syndrome.
yeah,
And
it is kind
you
of
are the
imposter syndrome.
expert, but you
Yeah.
look at others like, oh, no, no, they're the expert.
Yeah. And,
Exactly.
I can't remember where I heard it, but I remember reading something somewhere where they had done some kind of study, and it was men and women in a room, and they asked everyone, would you be comfortable speaking as an expert on nursing, on breastfeeding? And there were almost no women who raised their hands. And
Don't tell me the men all.
and there were men who raised their hands. And so at the end, they asked the women, why didn't you raise your hand? You have children, you've nursed yourself. Like, why didn't you raise your hand and say, yeah, I would be an expert to speak on this? And they were all like, well, I'm not a lactation consultant. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not it's this self-selecting that we happen to do. And the men were like, well, I watched my wife do it, with our kids. So I figure, I can
Must know
I can talk
something.
about it. I can say something about it. And so, I just started like that whole thing, that whole like that happened, that women were like keeping their arms down, and men were like, yeah,
Raising
I
their
could
hand.
speak about this. That blew me away. And I start to just on a regular basis remind myself that, I am the person to be starting this company. I have an interior design background. I understand how homes go together, and how, spaces are put together. I, have worked in developing furniture for a national retailer, thousands of products.
My goodness, you are
And
the expert.
and I am the expert. And so why
Mhm.
wouldn't I raise my hand and say, you know what, I have an idea for this company, and I'm the right person to bring it to market. And I know that there are probably, many of your listeners, the majority of your listeners probably, who, if they thought about it, could say the same thing about their own life and their own ideas and their own experiences.
Definitely. I'm so glad you pointed this out. And the self-talk, what we say to
Mhm.
ourselves really matters. If you are saying, I am the expert and I have years of experience and I've done this and I've worked with thousands, versus, oh, I'm not the expert, I've only done this a few times, that makes a difference in how
Yeah.
you're going to present yourself. And what you spoke of with that little research study, it also reminds me of hearing about a statistic where whenever women and men are up for a certain promotion,
Mhm.
that men will always rise to the challenge, and
Yes.
so much more, even if they only have 60% knowledge
Yes.
of what
Yes.
the position calls for. And
Mhm.
women will clearly steer away from that. And that's
Unless
just
they have
so
100% of the
exactly.
qualifications on there. And
Yes.
I actually did that to myself once. And there was a man, a good male friend of mine, who went through the same thing and was like, no, you have this, and this. And he's like, and nobody has everything. He's
No,
like,
that's
you need to
right.
stop. He's like, do not self-select. You will get this job. And I did get that job. And that was the job that I got at Kohl's. And,
Excellent.
was like, oh, this job is too big for me. And he's like, absolutely not. And you know what? When I got there, it wasn't too big for me. So, sometimes it really is about, women self-selecting and saying, you know what, I'm going to put my hand down and I'm not going to, I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring because I'm not sure if I'm going to be successful. And I do think that there is something to that. A lot of women are expected, and I saw this firsthand, working a corporate job, women are expected to be doing 100% of the job before they're kind of put, moved up into a position,
Right.
whereas men, there is some sort of belief that men will rise to the challenge. And I think that as women in corporate environments, and I did this, myself, we need to be challenging that behavior and that thought process when it comes
Right.
time for other women to be up for promotions and to be moving up. They don't need to be at 100%. They will rise to the challenge just as men will.
Absolutely. That is grit at
Hmm.
its best. Making, taking, you might not have all the skills, but
Yes.
taking those skills, it's not just talent and what it's the skills and the effort that gets you to achievement. And this is definitely Angela Duckworth in her book.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah, for sure.
right now reading. So yes, it is seeing things differently. So it's really interesting that you pointed that out. What about your focus with so many moving parts? What keeps
Hmm.
you focused and motivated every single day?
Yeah, for sure. In a word, success. So I spend a lot of time visualizing what success not only looks like, but what it feels like. And
Oh, I love that.
it's not just a monetary thing. It is, it is like just even all of like the little step goals to get me to, you know, a bigger goal, so to speak. So, like as an example, um, I thought about what it was going to, I spent a lot of time visualizing how great it was going to feel to launch the website and to have, the product line like up, on the web, and what it was going to look like and how amazing that was going to feel. And, when I launched the product line, and when we turned that website on, it felt great. I visualized that first sale and how great and how
Mm.
sweet that was gonna feel. And each of those milestones felt even sweeter, like in real life. So having that visualization of like different success points along the journey, and internalizing it and feeling like, how is this going to feel? How am I going to feel? How good is this going to feel when it happens? And kind of using that. Um, and then, as you start to experience and reach some of these goals, and it feels even better
It
in
just
real
keeps
life
the
as it's
momentum
happening.
going.
Yeah, it pushes you forward, and it kind of like is this building. It has this sort of building effect. Um,
That's
and
amazing. What you're speaking to, this notion, I mean, we're all vibration. And
mhm,
if you can be intentional and
yeah.
visualize ahead that feeling, that happiness, that joy, whatever it is, you are creating that for the next segment that
Yes,
you're going
exactly.
to be experiencing. Very segment intending, I guess you could say.
Exactly.
Very cool. And it is, I think sometimes even younger professionals that I speak with are just so quick to get to goal that they
Yes.
forget the process. And you mentioned the smaller steps and goals along the way. They're really important.
Yeah,
And
they
that
are.
being a part of that and being present is really amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, just a real quick little bit is, if you think about it in terms of vacation, they always talk about the vacation effect. When you plan a vacation, let's say you're planning a vacation for, the Thanksgiving holiday, so it's months away. Um, you get a happiness benefit out of, thinking about that vacation as much as you do, actually being on the vacation. So they're always talking about, if you want to get the best bang for your vacation dollar, plan your vacations in advance. And while you're on vacation, plan what your next vacation is going to be, or, have something else that you're looking forward to. And I think having those like small broken down steps of, something always that you're looking forward to and that you're thinking of, so that you can enjoy the journey and not just the destination of actually, being on vacation or being successful.
That is a really great point. I think that I know personally I benefit, and even my family, when
Mm-hmm.
we are thinking ahead about what is that next, always
Yeah.
something to look forward to and
Yeah.
to get excited about.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, it's a build, and you're creating
Exactly.
excitement. And then as you're getting excited, you're creating more excitement for what's
Exactly.
next to come, but always enjoying and
Mm-hmm.
being present where you are and what you're doing, and not skipping that
Yes.
moment. Like I just recently explained to somebody how I used to be out on social media in a beautiful moment taking photos, but more getting frustrated about getting the photo the right
Mhm.
way, and then
Yes.
the description and what hashtags are you using. And then I realized, whoa, I am so missing
Yeah.
this moment. And when you
Yes.
can think of it that way, you can be more in the moment. And it's so much better. Talk
I
about happiness
agree.
levels.
I agree.
So, how about, I mean, I can hardly believe we're at this point, but maybe you could share a little bit of maybe some parting advice with our listeners and people who are watching, so that they can get to a place of innovation, creating what they would be proud of, socially or environmentally sustainable. What would you say to them?
Yeah. I would say dream big, like just big. And, there is really no limit to, how big you can take, or how big you can dream, what your goals are. But be willing to put the work in. There's so much out there right now about, quit your 9 to 5 and, jump feet first into, entrepreneurship. It's not that simple. And, jumping feet first into entrepreneurship isn't necessarily going to pay the bills. So, dream really big, but, be willing to put the work in. Um, you know, and also like don't don't sell yourself short. So people have come to me, the product line has not been out there that long. It's still, it's still a baby or a small child, in terms of its growth and in where it's at. And a lot of people have asked me to make a cheaper product to, get rid of, um, our
Those higher
environmental,
standards.
yeah, standards, to get rid of, make to maximize our profit, to, make our furniture overseas, to, basically just do what everybody else does. And, that's not why I started this company. That's not why I started Forti Goods. And so, just getting really clear and knowing what you're willing and unwilling to do, so that you're not selling yourself out along the way. Regular check-ins, spend a lot of time meditating and visualizing what it is
Yeah.
that you want. But, meditating and visualizing alone are not going to get you where you need to go. You need to be willing to put the work in, and be honest with yourself about that.
Yeah, I mean, that is great advice, from the dream big to the meditating, the visualization, to put the work in, the check
Yeah,
ins. All of that helps so much with what you're trying to achieve. Well, Sharon, thank you so much. Where can people find out more about you and Forty Goods?
sure. So, you can check out our website at www.fortigoods.com, and that's FORTI goods.com. And in most places on social media, our handle is at Forti Goods.
Excellent. And are you out there? Are you either on LinkedIn or Twitter?
Yeah. I'm on LinkedIn with Sharon Kevil.
Great.
And I'm also on social media as well. People can find me out there and follow along if they wish. I'm not as active on social media personally as I am professionally.
Awesome. Well, it's good that you're out there. And thank you again for sharing your journey, what you're doing, and for also sharing really good advice. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
Thank you. I really enjoyed chatting with you. So thank you. And a big thank you to all of you for tuning in, for always showing up, for being here, for keeping the conversations going and the feedback coming. And you know where you can find me. I'm on Twitter at Dee Breckenridge, or connect with me on LinkedIn. And you know what I always say, folks, until our next episode, stay focused, energized, and feeling empowered. Thank you.